Arizona Cardinals continue training camp out in Glendale. Intensity really ramping up this afternoon.
Because, everybody looks so nice in their shorts and T-shirts, and they're running around like gazelles out there. But now you put the pads on, Cam. You get a little hitting in there.
That's right, Troy. You get angry. You get to hit people a little bit. Football is officially back. Pop, pop, the sound coaches like to use, right? Yes, guys. Today feels like the first official start of Cardinals training camp because, number one, the pads come on, and that's where it's kind of Troy is alluding to. You find out what people are made of. There's no longer short and T-shirts whatsoever. It's about real football now and gearing up, for week one. So today the Cardinals putting on the pads for the first time. Practice going on right to the side of me right now here at State Farm Stadium. It also feels like the true first day of camp because Jacoby Brissett, quarterback who got the raise over the weekend, the starter all along, is getting reps with the first team. So the Cardinals got their quarterback. He's got their new contract. He's getting reps with the first team offense. So finally, guys, it's starting to feel like the true start of football season. And believe it or not, next week the Cardinals have their first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, Canton, Ohio, against the Carolina Panthers. Larry Legend going in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that sound is back. The feeling is back. Football has begun. True football has begun out here at State Farm Stadium, guys.
It does seem crazy to me that, obviously they're professional athletes, but they're not getting a whole lot of practice time before they have to go out there and run these plays for real and get hit by guys who are not trying to hurt them, but they're trying to hit them hard.
Yeah, Troy, and it's interesting you bring up hitting, right? Like you would think there's a lot of tackling when you put on the pads. That is not the case anymore. They don't want to get anybody hurt, so there's just a lot of thudding going on is how Coach LaFleur put it today. They're not taking anybody to the ground. NFL teams don't do a lot of tackling when it comes to practice. They get a lot of those reps. Hard to believe in the game now. But Coach LaFleur does want to see some contact out there. He does want to see some collisions, but you won't see anyone go to the ground. No real tackling on day one with pads.
Our ears perked up a bit on Sunday. Marvin Harrison Jr. made a couple of visits to the trainers during practice. What's the update on him?
Yeah, Tram. Cardinal fans were just a little worried because after some deep balls and deep catches in the end zone, Marvin Harrison Jr., he kept going over to the trainers and he was stretching and kept calling them over, and you were wondering, what was up? We did get a chance to ask Coach LaFleur about it today. Cramps. That was it. He was just cramping up. Just need a little bit more water. All is good. MHJ is out there today getting reps with the first team in full pads. So the heat, it doesn't matter if you're indoors or not. It affects everybody at some point out here in the desert. And it got to Marvin, obviously, on Sunday, but all good today for the first day with pads.
He's got all those big muscles now, Cam. When you get all those big muscles, because he looks like a weightlifter now, easy to cramp those things up, right? When you have so many muscles. Yeah. So they're inside now.
Troy,
you got AC in the stadium.
You would be the expert on that, right?
I'm the expert on the one pack. You've heard of a six pack? I have a one pack. But so they're inside, but they're going to go outside and practice in this heat.
Oh,
that almost seems dangerous.
Yeah, guys, so obviously they hold Cardinals camp in here, and they've done it for over a decade now out here at State Farm Stadium. So don't necessarily have to worry about the heat. The hottest part of the day is going from the parking lot to the front door out here in Glendale. But in a few weeks, they're going to take camp, obviously, back to Tempe in their practice facility. They're going to have to practice outdoors. Coach LaFleur was asked about that today because it's 1 billion degrees outside, and they're going to have to change some of their practice habits. They're going to go very early in the morning, according to Coach LaFleur. He has started to pick brains of the veterans on this team, like Zaven Collins and Budda Baker, the longest tenured members on this roster. He also reached out to former Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians to see what he did back in his day out here in the desert. And he also talked to Larry Fitzgerald just to kind of get some ideas of how to practice a team in the heat. It is dangerous. It is hot. They still got to practice outdoors on the grass. So they're starting to kind of get all that down now. But Coach LaFleur has got a very firsthand lesson of what true Arizona heat is this week. He asked if we knew anybody that could turn down the heat. I didn't get a chance to tell him this, but I'm going to volunteer Lindsay because Lindsay has to know somebody that can turn this heat down.
She has a messenger.
I think she could do it.
And she's doing an excellent job of messaging, but she takes a lot of heat for the heat.
She does.
Sometimes it feels like preseason lasts forever, but once they get in pads at least, they start looking like football players.
Yeah, Troy, now that they're back in pads, you can really start the countdown for when the season will be here. And it's hard to believe it'll be here before you know it. Their first preseason game is next week. So today, getting the pads on, getting the hitting going. Team practicing right now, right behind me out here at State Farm Stadium. There are about 30 more minutes left here in practice. So far, so good, no injuries. So day one in pads is going well. Let's show you some action from today. First day of pads, so you got to make sure that helmet works, right? Rookie Jeremiah Love getting his gear going. First time he's put on his pads in his NFL career. Cardinals' first practice in pads, no tackling, all right? That's the rule, but there was plenty of hitting, plenty of thudding, as Coach LaFleur likes to say. Truly felt like the first day of camp because starting quarterback Jacoby Brissett getting reps with the first team offense for the first time under new head coach Mike LaFleur. So, Coach, explain the rules of hitting.
If anyone in the hole has a shot to thud them up. I don't want to see 11 guys thudding up. That's not realistic. So let them go and then go get your shot on the ball. And guys got to know how to practice. And typically the guys that don't know how to practice are the guys that just can't stick around because they're not capable of it. Look forward to seeing them be physical but being smart at the same time.
When the pads come on, you can hear the noise of making the tackle and hear the thuds and kind of, the smack talk comes a little more and it means a little more at that time. And, you call it real football for a reason because, the pad starts clacking, voices get a little lower, some voices get a little higher. So it's fun. Line it up.
We cannot wait for that. We cannot wait for real football to be back. It is back now. It's good to see the Cardinals back in pads. This is where you start to learn a little bit about the team. Jeremiah Love, the rookie, getting a lot of first-team reps, so that was exciting to see. Marvin Harrison Jr. back out there today after spending some of practice on Sunday with the trainers. So real football is upon us, and the season, guys, is right around the corner. And Troy, listen, since you're the muscles expert at 12 News, as you said at 4 o'clock, I'm going to tell Coach LaFleur, you're the guy who's going to give any tackling demonstrations, all right? If he needs somebody to show him how to do it, you got it.
They would break me in half. I tell you that, one hit. But Lopez, the local guy, I love what he was saying there. It makes so much sense. Some voices with pads on get quieter, and some get louder. I mean, when the pads come on, it gets real.
Yeah, you find out who the real football players are, guys. It feels so good to see the Cardinals in pads again. It just gives you sights and sounds that real football is upon us and the season is right around the corner. Yes, this is week 2 of Cardinals camp, but it really feels like week 1. Like this is the start of training camp today when you put the pads on for the first time. And guys, it did not take long for the action to pick up. Everybody get hyped. First day in pads brings out some trash talking, no tackling, but there was plenty of hitting. Felt truly like the first day of camp because starting quarterback Jacoby Brissett, fresh off getting that raise, getting reps with the first team for the first time under new head coach Mike LaFleur. Hits Trey McBride over the middle. James Conner still not practicing in any team situations. Tyler Algier and Jeremiah Love splitting the reps with the ones, and the rookie, as he's done all camp, continues to show off that raw talent, real speed, the moves. Marvin Harrison Jr., all good. He was cramping on Sunday. This is not good. Another drop right in the bread basket over the middle. Saw this way too much the past few years. Maybe there really is a battle for wide receiver 1. Michael Wilson, great catch. I love the team's reaction. Like I said, everybody's fired up. Speaking of being happy, Valley boy Roy Lopez is loving being back with the hometown team. In the locker room, the guys call him Mr. Arizona, but that title belongs to a different Valley athlete. You known around these parts as Mr. Arizona? Is that what I'm gathering?
No, but I saw they gave that title to Koa Pete. Shout out Koa Pete, man. That's so cool. I can't wait to wear a Pete jersey to the stadium, man. So that's cool.
What do you remember about him playing basketball in the Valley and then at Arizona?
I've heard about him since he was a little kid, man. The whole family. I've heard about their whole family. I got to play against Andres last year, and yeah, man, the whole family. It's a legendary family, man. Legendary last name for sure.
Talented bunch. Like the whole group is talented. The whole family.
Yeah, they're stacked. They're all tall and big boned, man. So no, I've known them for a long time. They've known me and my family for a long time as well. So it's really cool to see him get drafted. When he got drafted, it was like one of my family members getting drafted, man. It's all in our group chat, and everybody was proud and happy. So great pick. Great pick.
You'll rock that jersey to the game at some point.
I will. I'll be rocking the Pete jersey for sure.
Valley boy respect. Hey, miss any of our Cardinals camp coverage? Want to get caught up on some battles and some storylines? 12 Sports is your HQ. We're always camping with the Cardinals on air, on YouTube, online, on 12news.com, and, of course, streaming on the free 12 News app for your TV. We are less than 2 weeks away from Canton. Cardinals and Panthers in the Hall of Fame game next Thursday, August 6th, right here on 12 News. But more importantly, Larry Fitzgerald being enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 12 Sports, of course, is your all-access pass that week. We're taking you behind the scenes and along for the ride with Larry Legend. Mark, you know how NFL teams, they don't want anybody to get hurt, so nobody being tackled to the ground. They'll do some individual tackling drills, but no like really hard tackles to the ground until the games get there.